All right. Hello out there. Hi, everybody. Aaron from Solace here, back with you for yet another office hours. We were off last month. Happy August. I hope you're all enjoying your summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And I guess if you're in Australia or the Southern Hemisphere, I hope, you're looking forward to winter being over, getting a little bit warmer out there. Today we are going to be talking about the Solace Event Portal. It's been quite a while since we've had a Solace Event Portal update, and to help me with that, I'd like to bring on my colleague Darryl to do the heavy lifting. So, hey, Darryl, how's it going?
I'm well, Aaron. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well as well. Thank you. So I'm back in Canada. I'm in Ottawa right now. I think you're based in Ottawa, right?
Yeah, I'm also in Ottawa.
Yep. Yeah, headquarters. So Solace headquarters is in Ottawa. If you're out there and you're listening, we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn. Put yourself in the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from. And while that, a couple people are saying hello. Darryl, why don't you introduce yourself to the people who you've been on the stream before, but yeah, why don't you introduce yourself?
I have. Hi, everyone. I'm Darryl MacRae. I'm a product manager here at Solace, specifically focusing on Event Portal and helping developers get access to events and integrations, basically.
That's right. So the Event Portal rounds out our entire event-driven platform. We have our Solace Event brokers that most people know and love, but the Event Portal allows you to kind of build applications, document them, code generation, does broker config now. Our last update, I think it was around DSEMP and kind of the ability to do config push, as well as the kind of authorization flow for accessing certain events. That was almost a year ago. So yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few new things that we're going to be taking a look at today. So exciting stuff.
Exactly. Lots of updates today, Aaron.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and I'm gonna share your slides here. There we go. All right, look at that. There's our title slide. All right.
There we go. There we go. So yeah, just a couple slides. Don't have too many.
Couple slides, and we're going to get right into the demo. There's going to be some live content, and stick around for the end. We're going to talk about some of the new and upcoming features that are not available yet today, but we're going to be made pretty soon, very soon. So
exactly. Yeah. Even these that I'm going to show you, they're not yet available, but will be in 2-3 short weeks.
Ooh, okay. So this is all coming soon. So it's not quite there yet. So if you see something you really love today and you want to give it a try, you are going to have to wait for just a minute or two. So
some of it, you can let me know, and maybe I could enable some of it for some early access. But we could talk.
Well, that's nice. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick out there. Hello. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed the content today. So, all right, Darryl, over to you. Let's kick this off.
Sure. So let me go to one slide. This looks very roadmap-y slide, as I'm a product manager. However, the key thing here is where we're investing in Event Portal, and that's kind of the access and govern area of our platform, of the overall platform. And the main message I just want to convey here is that we're making it easier to design and deploy applications and event-driven integrations for developers and integrations teams. That's the focus, and that's what I'm going to actually show you today. Some of the work we've been doing there, and some of these features that are going to come out very shortly. So the key focus today are on the new graphics in Event Portal, so the ability to have new graphics, new support for configuring what we call RDPs, or REST delivery points, which is effectively a webhook to push events out to systems with REST endpoints that can accept them, and an overall guided config workflow refresh. So make it easier to configure not only these REST delivery points or webhooks, but also just interfaces for regular applications in general. Make it easier, more intuitive to get started with Event Portal, basically.
Now, when you say regular applications, you're talking about kind of messaging applications, like typical Solace pub sub kind of messaging.
Exactly, apps, right? Event-driven applications. Anything that publishes to our brokers or event mesh and subscribes to those brokers as well. So we basically you could model those and configure them on the brokers themselves, configure all of the assets you need. So those applications can be deployed and connect to our brokers to publish what they're allowed to publish to and subscribe to what they've been approved to subscribe to in terms of event data.
Right, right. And whereas the RDPs are, more for your kind of your web integrations or your more traditional kind of REST-based applications. So we can model and kind of design for either type of flow, right? Messaging
Yes,
and
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's like still obviously a lot of applications have REST interfaces. It's like what I like to call event-driven REST. So we can push events in real time to you,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. You're not pulling some REST backend. We're pushing it out there, right? With this webhook,
Exactly.
and we're posting to whatever backend or system you have there.
That's right. That's right. And anyone who's configured a REST delivery point on our brokers knows that it's a little involved, and I want to show you how easy we're making it. So some of the things
for anybody that's out there and hasn't seen the event portal or has any kind of generic question, it's not necessarily about what we're talking about here. Please feel free to put it in the chat. Please ask your questions. I'll keep an eye on the chat. You have the product owner of Event Portal here, so this is a great opportunity if you have, or maybe a feature request. Just throw it up in the chat, and I'll interrupt Darryl in the middle of his presentation here.
Yeah, anytime. Interaction is more fun for sure.
Agreed.
So what I'm going to show like the whiteboarding style drag and drop, which isn't quite new, but we've updated it. So I'm going to show you a bunch of updates there. Show you how we can now customize the node colors in the graph. So the apps, the events, the icons for those applications, and even logos for the applications, just so you can make your visualizations depict your event-driven architecture more accurately and more representative of what your event-driven architecture actually is and is doing.
And make it look a lot better. If you're doing
it looks cool.
Yeah, if you're making screenshots for a PowerPoint presentation or something, you want to get it color coded the right way. You want to have the right logos. It certainly makes it look a little bit flashier, right? So and
flashier and more representative. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I'm going to show you the new flows, the guided flows for configuring. Well, of course, now REST delivery points or webhooks to push events, but also just regular applications. It makes sure that you don't forget anything, and you configure all things before you push those configs to the brokers when you're promoting through environments. And I'll show you how you can. That's even easier once you configure it in dev to promote that same config to an integration and test or production environment. And then I'm going to show also, so basically how all that works now, and it's much easier, more intuitive, ask some questions, and we're completing the development of this now, and I'd like to show you what's partly done already. So
almost released, yeah. So we're going to be looking at your special test environment that you have all this stuff running.
Correct. Right. So here, I guess I'll get right into it, Aaron, if that's cool.
Sure. Yeah, let's do some demos.
Yeah. So here is our cloud console. Our Solace Cloud platform. The event portal is at the top, and then we have, of course, micro integrations, agentic AI now, and then mission control, which is where you have manage the brokers themselves and the event meshes and mesh those brokers together. So in event portal, just a recap for those that are maybe new, but also just to explain my demo environment so that it'll make more sense as we go through. We have a designer. That's where you design your application interfaces and how applications interact via events from hub and sub perspective.
Schemas and
schemas and all that stuff. Our catalog is where obviously all these events and schemas and any event-driven asset that you want to reuse is listed and searchable, filterable, all that kind of stuff. The runtime event manager, and we'll go into this, is where we model the runtime and where you actually push the config. So you model the runtime in each of your environments, and you push the config, and you can actually see what your event-driven architecture looks like in each of those environments.
It's the bridge between the design time and the actual, like, what's on the broker and what's available to actually run runtime.
Exactly. That's essentially what it is. And then we have a KPI dashboard, which shows right now it's really about reuse of events and shows how much return on investment kind of you're getting and which events are most reused and least reused and which are not reused at all. So we want to clean some of that up to save on some resources.
I haven't played with the KPI dashboard that much, but I guess, as just like playing around with the event portal, it's not going to show me a huge amount of detail. But yeah, once you're kind of like deployed in production and you're actually like you're using this in earnest, seeing your kind of, how often your events are being subscribed to or used in other parts of your architecture, it's pretty cool bit of stats in there.
It is, exactly. In the reuse, you obviously want this number to go high. If it's just one, basically every event being consumed once, you want to consume them many times in an event-driven architecture.
That's right.
Where that
do you want to zoom in a click or two there, yes. Darryl, on your
go in one? I just wanted to do this one at that level. I think this is the level that would be good for us.
Yep, sure.
So So what we have is I'll go into Designer and spend a lot of time in here, but let's start in Runtime Event Manager so I can kind of explain the setup. So in Runtime Event Manager, this is, like I said, where we model the environments and where you push the config. So you have the different environments: development, integration, production.
Right? You can make those kind of anything you want.
Anything you want. You can name them whatever. You can have as many as you like, pretty much. And so if you go into different into integration, you'll see an event mesh for integration. Let's start in development. Then I have two event meshes here. One, if I click on the dev EU event mesh, what this does, and this shows you a representation. Now this is kind of small, but you can drill in, zoom in, and everything. A representation of all of the applications that are connected to the brokers or that event mesh. And I actually have this event mesh is just one broker, and it's the Development Europe broker, and I'm connected to it from Event Portal. And that Development Europe broker, if I go into Cluster Manager, so this is where the brokers actually live, is here in the development environment. I have the Development Europe broker, and that's what. And then in the integration, I have an integration service broker. I called that. And if I would go back here for one little second, you can see all of these different applications. So this is like a retail.
It's a lot of apps.
Yes, exactly. Lots of events like orders created, validated, updated, new customers, shipping services, inventory services, fraud services. So there's a bunch of these things. Now, if we go into the broker itself, just to give context, and we drill into the queues, for instance, so you'll be able to see the broker is configured for all these applications to connect and publish and subscribe to events. So here's all of the queues that were created on that broker for those applications. And if I go into access control, you'd be able to see all the usernames for each of those applications and how they connect to the broker. So that's what we're configuring when you configure stuff with Event Portal. Actually push configuration so those applications can actually connect and publish the events that they're allowed to publish to the topics they're allowed to publish to. It controls ACLs and everything like that, and subscribe to the event data that they've been approved to as well through those queues that I just showed you.
So I don't have, as a Solace operator, as an admin, I don't have to come in here now and kind of configure the queues. And it's like when I'm ready to deploy a new app, I have to go and make the queue, make a username for that guy, and give them specific ACLs. It's all managed by the Event Portal now with all the
now you can do it all.
Source. Yeah,
correct. It's basically abstracted away from the user having to go in there and type these things in. Just manually. So, and you get, of course, these cool views of what's actually connected, like very graphically. And when they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is you don't get this kind of view from the broker itself, obviously.
No.
So you know which apps are connected and able to publish to which events on which topics, and which ones are subscribing to those events as well.
Right.
So let's go back to the main top level, and now we'll drill into Designer.
Just saying hi to Mark. Hi, Mark. How's it going? Thanks for joining. All right. Yep.
So in Designer, it's basically at the top level view, it's broken down into what we call application domains. And 4 of these, like the fulfillment, the merchandising, online service, and the shipping, make up this retail use case or event-driven system or architecture. So if you drill in, and these are usually aligned with a functional area of the business or a development teams, and these application domains are where we configure RBAC and who has access at which level to which objects. So you can't change other people's configuration if you're not in their team, and so forth, right? It's
a bit of best practices to kind of to have them segmented to some degree, right? Rather than everybody inside one giant domain. Yeah.
Exactly. And as with bigger enterprises, you obviously have to do that. Not everybody can be, working on everybody else's apps.
Yeah.
So if I drill into one of these application domains, this one is the fulfillment application, you'll see the part of the event-driven architecture that is belonged to by that application domain. So as a recap, these round concentric circle icons are the applications. The smaller, more solid ones are the events. So if it's dash line, it's in draft mode. If for these events, if it's a full solid dot, then it's owned in this application domain. If it's a half moon one, it's being pulled in from a different application domain. So because you're sharing these events across the enterprise. Exactly. So these are all the events. So you'll see that this order created event, for instance, comes from another application domain. So this octagon kind of hexagon kind of shape is another app domain. So if I double click on that, I can actually drill into that other app domain if I have permission to do so, if I have access. And then you'll see that this order writer service is publishing this order updated event and all these other order events, and they're being consumed in the fulfillment domain. So let's go back there.
Right. These application domains, I mean, they're not corresponding to message VPNs on the broker. These would all be deployed to the same VPN, or could it be? I mean,
they could be. They could be like a different broker service, and they're pushed to a different broker in the runtime. Okay. So different dev teams could have their own brokers in development environments, but eventually in production, they kind of all get published to the same broker or same event mesh, so that you can share these events across, or liberate these events and stream and filter them across the organization. So effectively, you in Runtime Event Manager, you get the complete view across all the app domains. It doesn't have that app domain view, as our broker doesn't look at it from that perspective.
Right.
So what I wanted to show. So one of the things, obviously, you'll notice that's new and not available in your accounts yet, if you have Event Portal access already, is the ability to customize these icons. So now, if you right-click, you can edit the appearance of the application icons. So you can change the colors of these guys, which is
you can't do custom colors.
Cool.
It's only just the palette.
Just the palette so far.
I'm gonna make a feature.
It's and just these icons too.
Okay.
So eventually we'll be able, so you can upload your own, but then we have to segregate them per account and all that. So it was more work to get this done. It's easier to get this one out there, and it's useful. So you can, if it's a database app, you can make it look like a database thing, or an email application or whatever. But also, you can even make it like choose logos of popular, like say I'm pushing stuff to Salesforce, and I can make it look like that.
Yep.
As well. So just to be more representative of your actual event-driven architecture. So it's kind of cool. We've been requested that for a long time.
Yep. Better than just a bunch of hexagons and circles all over the place, right? So
exactly, they mean more now, and
yeah.
at a glance you can see, okay, who's what, and you can color code them like this, who owns this one, which teams, which area, which service, which use cases. There's all kinds of things you can do in terms of code.
For an
Color.
external event like those half moon ones, like is it the owner that has to change it? Like if the owner app domain changes it, does it turn colors on other people's app domains?
It does. It does.
Cool.
So the owner owns these. So this one will be, if I scroll up here a little bit, online services own these events, or
Right.
like they're where they were created and actually where they live. If you could change the app domain color as well, and then everything new in that app domain becomes that color, but you can override those colors as well for some subset of the events if you like. So that's kind of cool. Another little thing that we've added was snap to grid. This is a pet ask from Aaron for about 3
Yes.
years, maybe
More than that. Since
so now you can snap to grid here if you like, which I like the feature too, I must admit. I just kept pushing it down the road to Aaron.
If you're laying out, a fairly complicated mesh or setup, and you want to, again, screenshots, right? I'm thinking like, I need to paste this and present it to some team. It's nice to be able to lay it out with kind of right angles or 45-degree angles. And
absolutely, and otherwise you find yourself really tweaking it and wasting a lot of time doing that. There's other little things that you can do too that people don't necessarily know, but if you click shift and grab a whole bunch, you can move a lot.
I didn't know that.
So those are some little, or you get control and select, like 3 of them and do the same thing. I move all these 3 around. That's kind of cool.
That's good. Cool. Nick wants to know if there's an otter icon, for our Solace mascot, I guess. So
there isn't, but that would be a good one. That would be a good one. If you have any requests, but just create a support ticket, then we'll get it in the backlog somewhere. Yeah, for sure.
Email support, Nick, and tell them that
where's the otter?
Where's
the green otter? Right.
That's right. Exactly.
So the thing, like I was saying, what I wanted to show, we up until now, and in all of anybody's account that's in right now have access to, it doesn't support RDP. Event Portal yet. Well, it will in a couple of weeks, and I want to show you how easy it is to configure REST delivery points or webhooks to push events that you designate to other systems with a REST endpoint that can accept them. So this game changer kind of stuff. So right now, so if I add objects, you can drag a new application or a new event or an existing event from our app domain onto the screen and start consuming that. That's not new.
That palette used to be up at the top right-hand corner. I mean,
that's what's new. That's one thing that's new. It's on the left now.
Yeah,
there will be shortly. So it's on the left now. And then the other thing new is we have these new types of applications. So the first one we have is REST delivery point. So that's what we call an RDP, commonly known as at Solace, and really, like, it's a webhook for
from the broker. Yeah. Any message that lands on this queue, post or do a put over there to that URL.
Exactly. And there's a lot of resources that you have to configure on the broker and string together to make this actually work.
RDPs are complicated, bit of wiring there. So
there is. And so what we wanted to do is abstract away some of that complication and make it, bring it down to what's required to configure the thing. And there's a couple of new flows. The flow that's completed and that I'm going to show you today is the graphical driven flow, and it's going to step you through what you have to configure to do so. So you could just create a generic destination RDP, so it could go anywhere, so you have all the flexibility that you'd want. But then we also created these kind of templates or helpers for different common services in AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. So I am going to use an S3 bucket, and I'm going to push events to an S3 bucket because I have an S3 bucket set up, because a guy in my design team set it up for me. So
excellent.
I can actually push events, and we're going to show you how easy it is to configure that, push them into a dev environment, and then promote that config to even a subsequent environment. Yeah. So
I'm interested to see this because I actually have on YouTube. Once we released our our authentication mechanism for AWS, I made a video on how to push like using an RDP into S3, and I actually started to do it on a live stream. And I spent about 20 minutes screwing around with because there was an error and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And then I figured it out and then I made a video about it. And it was all very a manual process. This is about 3 years ago. So I'm quite excited to see this drag and drop flow that would have saved me, I don't know, about an hour and some of troubleshooting why I couldn't get my RDP.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope this all goes great.
Live demos.
Well,
live demos.
Demos, you know what they say about live demos.
Yeah, don't do them.
Don't do them.
We made that joke last time.
All right, so let's do it. So, all right, so you just drag this guy onto the screen. You could go like call it a webhook to S3 if you want.
Okay.
And so let me get rid of this for now.
So this is just putting it into. It doesn't have to connect to any of the existing apps or events. This is just inside our application domain, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and we'll figure that out. So what comes on with the RDP? It's got a little webhook icon we chose by default, but that of course can be changed. And then we create a link to another application, which is the S3 bucket. Now, if your destination app doesn't publish back to our brokers, you don't necessarily need to show that. You could actually make this webhook icon look like the S3 bucket because that's what the broker is pushing out to. Right. So, and so we'll actually like just do that.
So you can kind of see the destination endpoint or not, right? That's essentially kind of
exactly. It's up to you, and you can create these links between applications now as well that aren't necessarily evented or connected directly to our brokers. So just represent different types of relationships.
Hold on a second, Darryl. Just a technical notice here. Nick is saying if any folks are having glitches on LinkedIn live stream, apparently YouTube is better. Yeah, glitches on LinkedIn. That's not great. If any of my team out there is listening and they can double check LinkedIn, maybe this is something we need to raise to our hosting service here. But thanks, Nick. Thanks for that. We are on YouTube. Just head over to the solace.com YouTube channel. You can watch and comment over there. So yeah, sorry about that. All right.
Yeah, you can watch it later too.
Yeah, you can watch it later. Yep.
So let me just delete the external one that we're going to we'll say we'll just configure this RDP and it's going to S3 and we made it look like an S3 bucket. So now what you can do, if I just select this guy, it takes you through the steps required to configure that RDP. So
right. Okay.
So here it'll say, hey, what is the first thing? We'll drag from the graph to connect events to the application. So what I'm going to do is
which events are we sending there? Yeah.
Yeah. Which ones are we pushing out to S3? So we're gonna select this order created event, and it's from the online services application domain.
Yeah.
If I select this guy and drag him,
the arrow, yeah.
Just drag him to my RDP or my REST delivery point or webhook application. Then okay, now we're going to push this event. So this is what we're going to configure the broker to do. So anybody that's published to that topic, that order created event, will get pushed to automatically to the S3 bucket. Yep. So it says, okay, now configure it. So finish your configuration so that you can connect all these events outwards. So I'll configure it. And now, as you'll see, this is brand new. It'll say, well, which broker do you want to push this configuration to?
That's right. So we're just doing the design time. The graph this graph view is the design time, and now we're actually doing the runtime part of it, right?
Yeah, we're just configuring it in design time, and then at the end of this flow, we push it to the runtime.
Okay.
Yep, that's going to be the last step in the flow, and then we'll test it and we'll make sure it works and see all of those new resources on the broker.
Okay.
So if it's in the development environment, I'm going to obviously start there, as you intuitively would. That development Europe broker services, what I showed on the start with all those queues and all those usernames, that's where I'm going to push it. Okay. I said you reuse an existing configuration. Well, none exists yet because we're creating the first one for this webhook or RDP. And so now we define. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so this is for when we're going to promote this to a subsequent environment. This makes it even easier to do that, so you don't have to repeat a lot of things you just did.
Okay.
So if I define the event handling, so this will give you some sensible defaults in this case. So I'm going slow, but you can literally do this in
Click.
seconds.
Next.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, because it'll in this flow from the graph, kind of initiated from the graph. It's meant to be super fast, but I'm going to go slow so we can explain. So this is the event that we're going to push. This is a subscription. We automatically create the subscription that's going to attract that event to the queue for the RDP.
Yeah, which is a topic subscription as defined in that event, right? So in Event Portal, an event is a payload schema and a topic definition, right? Which is our multi-level wildcard topic. So so we're subscribing the queue to this topic that it's going to attract this particular event to it.
That's right. And so and then it defaults the name Webhook S3 order created. Like you could change that, of course, but let's just go with the default for now. The queue configuration will be the default to make it all easy. Now, again, you could configure that with as many properties of a queue that you want to configure and whatever, or that you're allowed to configure if you use queue templates. So we can even constrict that if we wanted.
Okay.
And then the queue binding. So this is kind of how you're going to treat these events where they go. So it's going to create files in this S3 bucket effectively for each one of these events that arrive.
So as part of the RDP configuration, there's a couple of pieces, and the queue binding, inside the queue binding, which is where you tell the RDP which queue to use to get its events from. As part of that configuration, you also tell it, when I post this out as a destination, where is it going? So that's what this custom request target is here. And as you can see, there's some variables in there. You don't. That was a new feature. That was what made me do that video a couple years ago when we released the substitution expressions, because you can now build custom REST, URLs based on the messages that are coming in, right? So you can see here we got timestamp here, UTC time, date. So you're building a custom URL based on message characteristics, which is pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. And then, of course, you can hit advanced options. We won't do that now, but it gives you a lot more of the flexibility that RDPs actually give you. But again, this is just really this to help you get it done and push this stuff. You can always refine it if you wanted later. So we're really trying to help users configure these quickly.
Okay.
So next, we're going to define the destination. So the RDP name is Webhook S3. We default that. Again, you can edit these names. The destination configuration type is the AWS S3 destination. There's a whole bunch. We'll leave it at that, of course.
And it knows that because that's the icon that you chose when you dragged it in.
That's the one I chose with the helper. Exactly. Then we put the access key ID for that the S3 bucket. I actually typed this in.
I can't blur that out, so don't. Oh, you got your secret.
Oh, that's okay. The secret is not. That's okay. The secret is obviously a bit longer and a bit more secret. And so the region, the AWS key. So these are all things that you would expect if you're pushing stuff to S3 bucket you'd need. And then the remote host. So this is kind of almost like the directory in the S3 bucket that or the file that these messages will go to and get posted.
I thought this was a Europe broker, Europe service, but your region is US West. That's a bit of a misnomer there, I think.
Well, this is where the S3 is. This is where S3 is.
Not where your broker. Okay.
Not where my broker is. Exactly. Okay. You can do it anywhere. And then remote port, and then it's going to be a put method. That's actually what the REST delivery point is going to do. It's going to do a put, and then we enable TLS. Again, you could click right through it. So now what we're doing is reviewing what we just did. So there's the event, order created event, which version of that event we're pushing, the subscription it's using, the queue name, the queue configuration, the request target. Everything is cool. Then we can start promotion.
If you had dragged two events onto your RDP, like two of those arrows, then it would have added both subscriptions for those two different events to that queue?
Exactly. Exactly. And it'll just add, and if 3 is be adding 3 of them. Exactly. And so,
Right.
and it'll do all that automatically.
Cool.
Yeah. So then the application is ready for a promotion. So it's going to go to this development environment to my development Europe broker. And if I preview that promotion, it will show me
from design time to actual
the first runtime. Yeah, to the development environment. So the first time, and then we'll promote it beyond that afterwards. So this will preview where it's going, what's the configuration, what the names are, even the queue config that's going to be pushed with the subscription, all automatically created for you. Like you can't imagine how much time this saves, right? So the queue bindings, all of this that will be the webhook to S3, the actually delivery point name. So I would just hit promote, and that stuff gets pushed to that broker and all configured. But before I do that, let's go look on the broker. So this is the development. Oops, did I get knocked out of there?
Yeah. 15-minute timeout.
Let me.
While you're getting reconnected there, I'll just flash up a comment here from Nick. Also, my buddy in the APAC area just stated he made a very similar graph tool for integration tracking at a previous org. All right, integration. Solace does micro integrations as well, but yeah, designing all this stuff, making it visually understandable. I mean, that's a huge value to when you're trying to explain your architecture and how things hang together. So hopefully your APAC buddy is an Event Portal user, or at least sign up for a trial account and give this a try if you want to try designing some event-driven flows as well.
Yeah, it's super easy, like I was saying. So now let's drill into this broker.
Yep.
So I'm going to go into manage. I'm going to go into the clients, because that's where we're in. So this is the same broker with all those queues that I showed earlier. In the
your broker,
So if I go to REST clients, there's nothing.
There aren't any.
So let's go back. Now let's go back and promote this bad boy.
So all those queues, all those those were all kind of just typical messaging applications, right? So
Yep, exactly. Those are the all these applications here, and the ones in the other app domains. Exactly. So you see, there's a little toast that came up that said it's deployed, and then you see this is promoted to. If I hover over here, it's the development environment and the development Europe broker. And if I go back to my broker and I refresh,
what'd you call it? A toast? A toast came up?
Yeah, they call it a toast. That's a UX user experience term.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it pops up like a toast at the bottom to tell you what just happened.
Okay, I missed that, but I know what you're talking about. Okay, so a little like a fade in, fade out pop-up kind of thing.
Exactly, and it just stays there for about 3 to 5 seconds, and it goes down. I'm sure there's guidelines on how long that's there for and everything.
Sure.
But yeah, so it tells you what happened. We're actually
there it is.
Going to make it. We're going to make it so it's more satisfying. Like there's a success. It's because we're not quite done yet. Because it'll be more satisfying when you
need some confetti or something. Yeah.
Essentially, because look what we configured. Because this is a lot of work we did with these few clicks basically. So here is the webhook to S3. Here are all of those assets on the broker that were created. Webhook to S3. Here's all my REST consumer, my queue binding, all of that's configured and up on the broker itself. Mm-hmm. And if we go back to the event portal, you drill into the runtime event manager, into that dev EU mesh, where it's basically this one broker service, which is the development Europe. You can see now that this guy, webhook to S3, is now consuming this order created, or it's being pushed to the S3 bucket.
Right.
Now let's. So that's it. That's it. Just click through, and I'll do it again when we promote, and I'll show you how even fast it is. But let's test it first. Let's make sure that this actually works. So
everything's set up, so that means your S3 configuration looks correct. I mean, if the REST consumer couldn't bind to its endpoint, you'll start seeing one of the things will be down, I think. So
yeah, so it looks like everything's up in terms operationally on the broker, and right here I just did a check in the S3 bucket. There's no messages there yet. So
that's your AWS console application just looking in your bucket, just doing it at S3 LS. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Thanks for the context. So,
Well, I've never used that. I'm guessing. I always use their
yeah,
web.
no, that's
Their
exactly
web
what it is.
interface, so okay.
So let's go back to this broker, and we'll do use the try me to publish an order event.
So you're going to simulate that event that the queue subscribed to using this guy, the try me. Okay.
Yes. So let me connect as that user. So I have all, because this
for other
actually,
people out there, we just FYI, if you're looking to generate test traffic into your broker, the Solace developer advocate team, Giri and Tamimi, have actually made a Solace Event Streams demo tool that you can find on tools.solace.dev, and you can actually go in and generate a feed. We have airplane feeds, traffic order feeds, all sorts of different coffee barista feeds you can basically publish into your broker. So rather than Darryl having to manually type in the topic here, you could just go and generate a feed and actually just have it automatically publish at your desired rate and do randomization.
Exactly. As opposed to one at a time, one message at a time or event at a time, which is what I'm doing. So I'm connecting as the actual order writer service with this client username that is configured on the broker, like I said before. So this is actually now connected.
Yeah.
And let's publish to the topic with that topic address. So this is an example, of course, to show about our smart topics, multi-level dynamic smart topics. But here, we're going to publish to Acme Retail Online Services order created V2 North America and some kind of order number. And let's give it an actual more representative payload. So there's the payload. So ready to test this. So this is, again, one message at a time. Again, there's nothing in my S3 bucket now.
So your JSON payload there, you know the schema that's expected for this particular event, right? This is
exactly.
Yeah.
I made an example for that complies with that schema. If I publish that guy, I just did one publish, so it's published one message, and then that message should show up in my bucket if everything was configured correctly.
Yeah, because there's quite a few hops for this thing to do. You're publishing it into the broker, has to land on the queue, from the queue to the RDP, into the REST post or put, and then posting up into S3. So there it is, just like that.
There it is, and then it uses that substitution variable, like the order created, with the date, the time, and the millisecond, basically, which is what we defined when we did it. So if I say publish 5 more. So a total of 6. It should show me 6 now.
And those substitution expressions, those are super powerful. Like you just have it kind of using the date and timestamp here, but you can extract parts of the topic level. You can say use level 3, like if there's a unique identifier. You can look at parts of the message metadata as well. You can really build, like S3, it takes the URL kind of name. That's the object name, right? So it's essentially the path. To kind of make this object. So you can really customize how exactly you want your S3 bucket objects to be named.
Yeah, exactly. And so if it wanted to pick up this ID here, you could do that. And it would be named after and land and be called. And then the payload will be the payload that I just added right here.
Right.
Because I just repeated the same thing, 6 times. So that's working.
Very cool.
Which is very cool. And just like that, you didn't have to go in on the broker itself and type in all this stuff and figure it out. And then, God forbid, now you have to go promote this to integration environment. So you'd have to go do that all again.
Yeah.
So let me show you how easy we've made it to promote the same config to the next environment. So if we go
as a long time Solace user, RDPs are one of the more finicky things to go and to create, just because there are quite a few moving parts. And getting REST messages into the broker, super easy, right? You just post to the right port, and that's it. It's now a message. It's getting messages out of the broker that you need all this queue and RDP and the queue binding and the REST consumer. So the fact that you can just with a tool click next, and it just deploys it is that's pretty brilliant.
Pretty sweet. Sweet. Yeah, and it's powerful, but it took a lot of time up until now. So now if we go back to our fulfillment,
okay,
and then we click, let's bring this over here, and now we just highlight the webhook to S3. Now we could do a bunch of things with this. So what would you do next in the life cycle of an application or an integration? Is you could create a new version. Okay. You could manage the life cycle of this guy. You could change it from draft to released. You wouldn't go to deprecated or retired yet, unless.
Why would you want to change the version of the integration? Like if you change the event, maybe, or why?
Yeah, maybe, or maybe the name, maybe the substitution variable. You could change. There's different things you could change. You know, because like, oh, I didn't like that. I chose a bad one. You know, or it just didn't work. You know, so I got, because of some other reason, like I was. You know, I got I typed in.
Yeah.
Thing is, you can't get the subscription wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
key. Okay.
So there's many things we stop you from being able to fat finger now, because so it's not really, once it's set up, much that you reason to do that, because it's doing it. But maybe you want to add a new event. So maybe I want to add order updated too, and so that would be a new version.
Sure. Got it. Yep. All right.
So now I could configure another broker. And then, so here it says promoted to development. Well, what I could also, which is just two ways to do the same thing, but basically I click there and I could promote this guy to integration, to the integration environment, to the integration service, which I also have set up here in Cluster Manager.
Okay.
I have to create the configuration. Has no configuration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, it's going to the integration service. Now I can reuse an existing configuration, that development Europe configuration.
So you're actually going from your dev to your test. You're
promoting that config effectively, is what you're doing. So all of those resources, not only did I not have to do it once, I don't have to do it again for each environment that it has to progress through to get to production. So now if I do development Europe, I can do next. It'll give me everything I already did, so I don't have to retype all this stuff in. We're just going to go with defaults for now.
Right? If you wanted to modify some small aspect of it, right, like something part of the queue, make it a bit bigger or something along those lines, would you have that option as well? Somewhere in this flow? Oh gosh.
Yeah, you would create. Excuse me. You would create a new version and then update the queue and then promote that through, basically. Yeah. And so this is I'm happy with what I tested in dev. Now I'm going to push it through integration. I'm going to review it. Okay, I start my promotion. It says ready for promotion. I'm going to preview what's going to get promoted, and it's going to do all the same stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to promote it. And then I just configured all those same assets on a different broker in a different environment, like that. And I can show it.
So you promoted specifically just the webhook part of it, right?
Just that. Okay. So let's go look at that in environment in Runtime Event Manager, for instance. So, oops, wrong one.
What if you designed like 5 things and you want it, like, can you promote them all at the same time, or do you have to kind of do one at a time?
One at a time right now. We're going to make it so that you could come into here and then select those 5 things and then say promote, boom, and then they all move. So I would just select a whole bunch of things, click, promote, and I will push them all. We're not there yet. So this is in integration environment. We don't have as many apps promoted there yet. We just have the order writer one, and we have the webhook that I just did. So that actually gets promoted. Now, if I go into Cluster Manager, this has actually really happened. I go to there's the development service. Let me go to integration one.
So different broker now.
Yeah. That was supposed to show integration.
Oh, it's not flipping. Oh, thinking about it.
It's not flipping. Here, let me show all services.
Yeah. Live demos, Darryl. There's always something.
Live demos. Don't do them. Don't do them, man.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always going to be one thing that goes slightly wrong. Well, the funny thing is, this is not even part of the new features that we're showing here. This is just I mean, we released environments
Yeah, exactly.
Portal at least a year ago. So
let me just refresh this.
give it a hard refresh. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Just needed a
service.
Okay, so I'm in integration environment.
Yep.
There's my integration service.
Yep.
And we'll drill into that. And in this case, if I go to access control, there'll be many less usernames because I haven't.
We've deployed
because I only had those 2 apps, right? Yeah, exactly. So instead of that whole long list, the same with queues, there'll be less queues and stuff instead of that whole long list. And there's the queue actually, but if I go to clients, let's do it that way, and we'll look at the rest.
That's because your app is a publisher app. It doesn't have all those queues and everything.
Exactly. It basically publishes all those events, and then it just created all those same assets on this integration service broker in the integration environment, just by click, promote, done. And so I just repeated that, all repeatable, repeatable without errors, basically. Because you just push it all and they're all up, and so you can test that one too, and then and you move on from there. So that's the big difference that we've added we're about to add. It's not even out yet, guys. It's going to be out in about 2 to 3 weeks, mid-September-ish time frame, and so. Yeah, and then so this is that easy to create integrations and push your event data to any system you like that can accept these, has a REST endpoint can accept these events.
Amazing.
So
amazing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. Darryl, I can I'm watching my video on my side, and my webcam looks a little bit delayed. You seem fine, but for some reason mine looks a little bit behind. So if I'm not coming through very clearly, apologies. But that was great
for me.
Okay, well that's fine. Hopefully this is. I'll have to check out the recording afterwards to see how it looks. So that's wow, yeah. All right. So coming soon, a couple weeks you said, before we can start to play with this.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. It's mid-September is kind of where we're targeting turning this on in all accounts, including the custom icons, the colors, the logos, the new RDP support, and the new flow. So even for regular applications, it has a similar flow where it'll step you through what you need to do to configure the queues and with the right subscriptions and all of that. So there's no more configuration errors or, oh, what did I forget? If you get to the end and you don't configure something, it'll even show you what's wrong and then give you a link to go fix it.
Very cool.
Very cool. So yeah, much more intuitive, much easier, and really required for RDPs to make this abstract away, the underlying technology complexity.
Required, that's a strong word, but certainly very, very useful. And
yes. You don't necessarily need it. You can do it all from Broker Manager for sure.
But it's not as
or CLI.
Yeah, I do it. I do it through CLI. I still use CLI a lot, so that's just.
You're an old pro, though.
I'm a sucker for punishment. So we're getting near the top of the hour. I was hoping for a few more questions out there. I'm hoping people are enjoying all this. That mid-September, you can expect to use all these cool new features. You can make your diagrams a lot prettier, which, in my opinion, is actually an important thing when you're trying to promote and describe what you're building. Do you want to give us a sneak peek of some of the stuff that's coming further down the pipe? Yeah,
well, there's more. Exactly. So let me just bring up these slides again.
Little comment from Phil here. Great demo. As always, Darryl does always the cool demos when you have a nice SaaS. And it's pretty to look at now. Massive time saver and risk reduction. Yep, exactly.
Cool. Thanks, Phil. So now if we go to the next slide. So what else is coming? Well, AI. We have this AI assistant, or formerly known as an AI designer, where for people spinning up a new trial account, or you just got access as a new developer in a customer and you want to learn about Event Portal quickly, this will help you with just typing your company name in, literally, build you a sample event-driven architecture for your industry, for whatever the company name is. So yeah, if you did SAP, it will come up with an SAP architecture. Now, this is not going to build you your architecture, but it'll give you a sample. and you can edit it and augment it as you go through, or you can just go click, 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 click to the end, and you can see these steps. So it does a definition, it builds the app domains, how it could be separated into different teams or functional areas. It creates the applications, the events, the subscriptions that are going to track those events for each of the applications, and then you can review it. And what it'll do now is it'll allow you to even set up the runtime. So it'll set up the runtime event manager part, which will connect to the broker, or if you don't have already a broker spun up, it'll prompt you soon, very soon, to spin up the broker. And then at the end, you say, do you want to push these configs, the things that we just designed for you? And I have 15, 20 apps. Push the config for all those apps to the broker in the runtime, just like that, within about, I want to say it's under 100 seconds. It's probably closer to 60, 70 seconds. Yeah, and it'll actually push the config to the brokers, and then show you like the right topic structure that we would recommend as Solace, and leveraging our variable, dynamic topics and subscriptions. So some best practices as well.
So what an amazing way to, because a lot of people, when they first kind of come into the event-driven world, they start learning about Solace, they learn about our topics, and they were kind of like, well, where do I start? What's a good topic design? And so I didn't realize it was quite so that's a lot of stuff. You can basically have it build, here's an example topic hierarchy, here's a bunch of apps. It does all you still have to go and code the apps, right? But you could use async. Exactly. You could use the async API code gen capability built into Event Portal to help, build yourself a Spring Boot app or something to help to start off easily. Wow, you can do quite an end-to-end flow now.
And it'll help you get to know Event Portal and our platform in general. Really, it's not about Event Portal. It's about the platform and helping you configure the brokers for those applications.
We have a question here from Yang Sen. Could you add approval request into the promotion flow?
Yes. So the answer is yes, and I will talk to you about that in a minute, because that's coming. So right now you already can request approval, or make it so that you request approval for, say, that order created event. I could designate that event as requires approval, and then anybody in another app domain who wants to consume that event on their new application that they're building, they would have to request approval, and then that has to be approved by the owner of the event data. Now, that could be somebody who created the event, or it could be a central governance team. So you can do that now.
This was our last office hours. That was what we did, I think, last October or whenever, about a year ago. So you can go and check that previous video to see that flow.
Yes, but there's a new request approval flow coming, which is the one Heng Sen is talking about, which is, okay, I'm a developer. I don't have permission. I can push to my development environment, because my middleware or integrations team allows me to do that, but they don't let me push to production without an approval. So if I don't have permission, I will soon be able to request permission to push it, and once it's approved, you can push it on your own time whenever you see fit. But you can't make any changes to the application to sneakily attract new events or anything like that. But you've been approved for that config to push to. So that request approval flow is coming in October, and that's actually one of my next slides.
Okay, all right.
So but Aaron, you just mentioned, like, okay, you still have to code the application. Well, we're even going to help you code the application, because we're building an MCP server for Event Portal, which is just going to be an open source, self-managed at first, self-hosted MCP server, but together with LLM and access to our APIs and our API documentation. It could even help with AI-assisted code gen for the part of the application code that interfaces with our brokers. So
we're talking about the Event Portal API, right? Which allows you to query for the schemas and the apps and generate stuff and build stuff directly into the Event Portal programmatically, right?
Yes, but also the APIs for the broker itself. So if with LLM and MCP, it will actually build you the part of the code for your application that will interface with the brokers. So this is
Wow.
what we're working on now
Okay.
as well. So really it'll help
Cool.
with the coding the app itself as
Yeah.
well. Not the business logic for the app, but the
Right.
part that interfaces with the Solace brokers or the
Yeah.
net mesh.
Host, URL, passport, username, password, and okay, reconnection stuff, all the API stuff. That's
all that, and it will leverage all of the things you configured on the broker as well for that application, and which events you can publish and subscribe to that you defined in Event Portal.
Pretty. Do I need to run this MCP server myself as a user, or is this going to be built into the platform?
Initially, yes. Initially, you'll have to run it yourself. It'll be in Solace Labs when we release it. It's probably in October sometime when we'll have it ready. Internally, people can play with it now to give us feedback in advance. But so we're working on that. So even to help code the app itself.
No one's going to have to know how to code pretty soon. We'll just tell our AI to write us some apps, and off it goes. Gee whiz! All right, I'm gonna
cobble stuff right together.
I might not have a job. That is awesome. So coming soon. It's in dev. Soon. It's in dev right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's in dev right now. So what else? What else is coming? Well, other stuff. So the three things I showed today, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks, are the RDP or webhook provisioning, the simple new guided workflows, and the custom icons and app links and stuff like that.
Yep.
The AI assistant, which we just talked about. So
to help you
all
design
of these,
your topics and your apps and
and how easier way to get started. Yeah. With it, and then so this is like I said, mid September to late end of September kind of time frame, and then what's next? Like this is all coming pretty soon. So this is where the MCP server for interacting with the designer to help with AI assisted code gen, for instance, for your apps themselves. We're optimizing the Event Portal API so that you can integrate it with your own CI/CD pipelines a little easier. So a lot of our customers want to design the configurations in Event Portal, use it for governance to get approvals that we were just talking about. Right. But to actually push the configs to the brokers, they want to do that along with deploying or instantiating the apps that are going to actually connect to the brokers with the config that we just
right. Okay, so they have an existing CI/CD flow, and they just want to have that as a step in there, right?
And they can push it themselves, and they just indicate, okay, it's pushed, and then the Event Portal will still be accurate and it'll still be housing all of this config data, but it's pushed along with their own pipeline. So this will just make that easier. You can do it now, but it's a lot of different calls and requiring multiple calls to get IDs and stuff. But it'll be less calls, much easier to do these integrations for our professional services team.
You're helping API, okay,
or the customers themselves. Some of our customers are integrating with it as well.
Yeah.
So we want to make them have to jump through less hoops in order to do that. And and then the last thing was basically what we were just asked about, the app deployment request approval flow. So this just gives you governed self-service access. So we still want to give end users self-service access, but you can't do it without any guardrails or free-for-all, right? Both data governance, and then this is more of the resource governance. Can I push it to this broker now, or this config, and so
with this queue size and all this whatever else is part of your
request. Exactly that's
awesome.
100%.
So exciting stuff. I mean, so this is not quite as imminent, soon, not quite as soon as what's coming next. So
this stuff is next, end of October, early November is kind of where I'm projecting it. It's pretty soon. It's pretty soon, all this stuff on this page.
So we're gonna have you back, kind of maybe first early in the new year, because talk about because there's what's coming after that. I mean, I'm sure there's still more work for that in the field, but
there is. So after that is we're going to support micro integration. So lightweight integrations are key, right? Making it easier for developers to have self-service access to and integrations to the event. So RDPs or webhooks is one lightweight integration.
That's right.
But of course, we have micro integrations. They're not yet supported in Event Portal, so we're planning that next. So that'll be the next big one that we should probably have another one of these, Aaron, and talk about as we get closer to releasing that functionality. So we're just in the planning stages right now, but making the, the whole data flows possible from Event Portal, just, clicking, including transforms, from liberating that data onto the mesh, streaming filter, and letting, downstream applications receive that data and react.
Because micro integrations, they have their own kind of API for kind of auto deploying and configuring and stuff. So you're going to there's going to be some mashup, I guess, between Event Portal.
Exactly.
Right.
So not only will we configure the brokers for those micro integrations to connect to the, to either publish or subscribe, depending on source or destination, but also instantiate the micro integration itself.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Wow. You just, you can just build entire event-driven frameworks just by sitting and clicking in Event Portal now. Just
that's the idea. That's the idea.
Wow.
Exactly.
The future is now. That's great. All right, Darryl. We are a tiny bit over here, but I think that was the last slide, right?
Yep, that's it. That's what I got.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks to everybody out there for your questions and watching. I hope the replay on LinkedIn wasn't too bad. I will go and check the recording and see how that was. Darryl, you came through nice and clear. I hope maybe it's my network here. I'm not sure. But I think we made it through. So
we did.
Yeah,
You're coming across good for me, Aaron. So.
Okay, well, good enough. Good enough. Thank you very much for coming and presenting everything about the Event Portal. Like I said, I think we were supposed to do this back in April or May, and it was like, no, let's wait until a couple more ease of use improvements.
We wanted to revamp the UI. Yeah, we want to make it a little easier.
Yeah. Well, I hope people are excited to try it, to make their graphs and things look a lot prettier. And yeah, thank you for doing Snap to Grid. Eventually, it's a really nice feature that I'm quite happy about, and I hope other people find it useful too. Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next month, end of September. I don't know exactly which I should actually know what my next. It might be micro integrations with Andrew. I think either that or AI. It'll probably be talking about Solace Agent Mesh, and it's one of those two things. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Darryl, good to see you. Maybe we'll see you in the office since we're both in Ottawa, we're both in town. But yeah, thanks everybody. Have a good one. See you next time. All right. Bye-bye.